Years ago, I'd often lose crops to pests, but not anymore. Today, I'm going to show you how I stop pests in their tracks, including caterpillars, aphids, whitefly, and the rest, by deploying 10 simple strategies. Don't worry, there's no nasty chemicals involved, just smart, organic, nature-friendly know-how. I'm going to take us step by step through the exact methods I use, including the best barriers to keep pests away from your crops, how to attract the hungriest pest predators, and I will reveal what to do when all else fails. Barriers like this are a foolproof way of keeping pests off your crops. If you're short on time and don't have the opportunity to hand pick or be on your guard all the time for pests, then a barrier is a real peace of mind way to keep them off especially vulnerable crops. Butterfly netting like this is perfect for keeping caterpillar producing butterflies and moths off your crops, and crucially for me, pigeons. I use purpose-sold netting cloches like this, especially over young plants and seedlings, which pigeons can't seem to keep enough of. But if you don't fancy a expensive enough setup like this, then you can always just use basically a netting draped over upright supports with a bottle on top to keep them nice and upright and proud of your crops. Or just throw it over your soft fruit bushes or canes to keep your developing currants and berries safe from birds. But do check the netting regularly just in case any birds get caught up in it. Different covers offer different levels of protection. Now, something like this lightweight garden fleece here is perfect for laying just directly over the crop to keep all pests off. But perhaps the most durable and most effective is this insect mesh. It lasts a lot longer because it's a bit tougher, and just like the fleece here, they'll both let in plenty of sunshine, rain and water and so on, so you don't have to move it or anything like that. Insect mesh is great for keeping any flying insects off your plants, such as leaf miners or carrot fly. But the main way I use it is to keep butterflies off my cabbage family crops. No more caterpillars for me. Try and keep the insect mesh or netting off your plants though, because sometimes the butterflies can lay through it and onto the plant. And case in point here is this cabbage that's been touching the netting. And if I click off a leaf here, you can see it's got caterpillars on it. So we do need to make sure it's suspended well off the leaves of your plant. Barriers or not, I like to regularly inspect my crops for any signs of pests or their eggs. Sometimes they're very obvious, like these caterpillars. Now, it's something I often do in the morning when I'm watering my plants, keeping a real beady eye out for them to notice any damage. And if I do come across any problems, well, I can just pick them off between my finger and thumb and either squish them, or something like these caterpillars here, I can put them out for the birds to snaffle on their bird table. It's quite a nice therapeutic thing to do, especially early in the morning as you're communing with nature. But for me, really, it all starts with ensuring my plants are as happy as they can possibly be. Now, it may seem obvious, but plants that are receiving enough light, nutrition, air and water and so on are going to be the healthiest. Most pests are cowards, picking on the sickliest plants. So if your plants are radiating health, well, they're less likely to be singled out. I always aim to keep plants well hydrated by watering thoroughly in dry weather. And I give plants plenty to get their teeth into as well by adding good, generous amounts of manure or compost at least once a year. The really heaviest feeders, such as my tomatoes, get treated to a lovely organic feed, such as my really rather splendid and homemade fish fertilizer. And I will drop a link to a video on how to make it in the description below. Many herbs and flowering plants can be grown near pest-prone plants to help repel pests. It makes for a really simple, no-fuss way of avoiding problems in the first place. Here, for example, I'm growing marigolds underneath my tomatoes because their distinctive aroma confuses and ultimately deters whitefly, while the basil here has a distinctive aroma too that helps to deter aphids, mites and even tomato hornworms. Dotting herbs like thyme, parsley and oregano around your vegetables is a great idea too, because not only will they add a splash of colour, they will help to deter certain pests as well. Chives, for example, are great at shielding carrot family crops from carrot fly. And then there are those flowers planted not to deter pests, but to attract their predators. Predators such as ladybugs or ladybirds which devour aphids. Then there are lacewings which are hungry for thrips and mites, and of course hoverflies which are voraciously devouring just about any soft-bodied pest. And it's often the little larvae of these predators that are the most effective. Many of the herb flowers we've already mentioned are great at both deterring pests and attracting their predators. And then there are really beautiful flowers like calendula here or sweet alyssum, which will really draw on these predators and keep pests to a far more manageable level. And if you can, leave a few patches of nettles as well. They're great for ladybugs or ladybirds, as well as a plant food for caterpillars of many beneficial butterflies. Insect-eating birds like wrens or robins will also chow down on pests, so set up bird houses as well as areas for them to perch and scout for those bothersome bugs. Toads and frogs make short work of slugs. Now this area of my garden here is naturally very boggy, so I've let the grass grow a bit longer, and these amphibians absolutely love this. There's a small pond over there for them as well, so being in such close proximity to my vegetable garden, I often found them hopping around in the beds there, so it's no wonder I don't have a massive slug problem. Some plants are so irresistible to pests that they'll concentrate on those plants and leave other plants alone. Now, by planting some of these trap crops, also known as sacrificial crops, we can hopefully concentrate our pests in one spot and then hopefully spare the plants that we're trying to grow to eat. One of the very best trap crops is this little fella here, the nasturtium. Now this is irresistible to caterpillars, cabbage moths and black bean aphids. So by planting this a little distance away from susceptible plants, we can draw the pests away. That's the plan. Now by keeping a close eye on pests, we can then either just nip off the pests or crush them between our fingers, or just rip up the entire plant and compost it. Now what I really love about nasturtiums in particular is that they readily self-seed and pop up here and there where they're needed in the vegetable garden. They're a little bit like the canary in the mine. If I spot a pest on my nasturtiums, I know to be extra vigilant elsewhere. Radishes are another excellent trap crop, perfect for planting around cabbage family plants and leafy greens to intercept an incoming flea beetle attack. Understand the life cycles of key pests and we can get shifty to duck, dive and dodge them. Cabbage maggots, the grubs of cabbage root flies, overwinter in the soil, so if we grow our cabbage family crops in a new position each season, when they emerge in spring, well guess what? They'll have nothing to feed on. Similarly, root knot nematodes will lose their sting if affected crops are grown in a new position from year to year. As gardeners, we can grow a broad range of crops rather than the single fields of crops grown by most farmers. It makes our hodgepodge of different crops a lot harder to home in on. And growing crops with different leaf shapes and textures side by side will help to disguise many crops from pests, as well as attracting a more diverse crowd of pest-eating allies. Other shifty techniques we can deploy are growing crops outside of the main danger period for their key pests. For example, growing spring cabbages so they are harvested and enjoyed before cabbage white caterpillars and butterflies are around from about midsummer. While my garden has plenty of frogs, toads and even ground beetles to help with slug control, they can still sometimes be a problem, especially early on in the season when there are lots of tender seedlings and plants for them to rasp their radula onto. So what I do at these peak sluggy times of year is set up simple slug traps, just so that they're slightly above the ground level, and then I fill it with either beer or a yeasty liquid. And for more on how to make this, I will link to the video on that in the description below. It's all about slug control, you won't want to miss it. What will happen now is that the slugs will be attracted to either the yeasty liquid in this case or beer, will fall in and drown, and then you can just empty it as and when. Now this is a completely safe, chemical-free and surprisingly effective way to deal with slugs. It's great to be able to work with nature, and an enclosed environment like this is perfect for breaking out the biological controls. There are many types on the market, including tiny little wasps to combat whitefly, mites that eat thrips, and many more. Now they're perfect in a setting like this, like a tunnel or greenhouse, because they won't simply fly away like they might outside. Just get them on as soon as you first spot that pest so they can get to work, these tiny little allies munching on those pests. There are also friendly nematodes that you dissolve in water to water over the ground to take care of slugs, and also nematodes for showing vine weevils the door, and a whole lot more. And if all else fails, the very final solution is to use a natural spray made using organic ingredients. Now, this really should be a last resort because even organic sprays can sometimes impact non-target species, even pest predators. So only use it as a very last resort. Now, one of the very simplest to use is just simply 1 tablespoon here of a simple mild soap like Castile soap made from natural ingredients, and then 1 tablespoon of cooking oil. You could use vegetable oil, sunflower oil, rapeseed or canola oil. 1 of those each like that, and that is it. Give it a good mix into 1 litre or 2 pints of water, put it in your spray bottle, and then spray those pests that are really kind of attacking your plants. This is really great for using against soft body pests such as aphids, whiteflies and spider mites. But like I say, just use it sparingly when there's a really severe attack. Other natural sprays include garlic and chilli spray, made by blending up garlic, chili peppers and water, great for chewing and sucking insects. And then there are many off-the-shelf options too, including neem oil and BT spray. For companion planting combinations that'll make your garden more resilient to pests and more attractive to you, why not try out our garden planner? Pop the plants on your plan, then find their perfect partners to give them the best shot at success. Start your free, no obligation trial to the garden planner over here. I'll catch you next time.